This is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of the parade shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, which occurred on July 4, 2022? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case. I'll move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. At the time making this video, the investigation has just started, and it's likely much more information will be coming out over the next few weeks and months. Robert Eugene Crimo III was born on September 20, 2000. He lived in an apartment behind his father's house in Highwood, Illinois. Robert's father, Bob, is a 58-year-old deli owner who unsuccessfully ran for mayor of Highland Park in 2019. Robert's mother, Denise, has been described as a 48-year-old Mormon who provides alternative therapy. Robert Crimo dropped out of high school in 2017. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On July 4, 2022, an assailant climbed on the rooftop of a building occupied by a retail store called Gearhead Outfitters on the corner of Central Avenue and 2nd Street in downtown Highland Park, Illinois. The shooter used an unsecured ladder that was attached to the building to gain access to the roof. At about 10 a.m., a 4th of July parade started in that area. At 10:14 p.m., the shooter opened fire with a rifle on individuals who were watching and marching in the parade. The shooter fired 83 times, ultimately killing 7 people and injuring 38 people. The age range of the victims was 8 to 85. As the police responded to the scene, the shooter left the rifle behind and fled. The police were able to identify the owner of the rifle as Robert Crimo. Dressed in women's clothing, Robert made his way on foot to his mother's house and requested her vehicle. She gave it to him, evidently unaware of what he had just done. Robert traveled to an auto service center in Madison, Wisconsin. He was contemplating another attack, but decided against it. He left his cell phone in the parking lot and returned to Illinois. Over 8 hours after the attack, he was spotted in North Chicago. The police arrested Robert at about 6:30 p.m. in Lake Forest, Illinois. He was charged with murder. The police discovered that Robert legally purchased the rifle used in the attack. The firearm was a Smith & Wesson M&P 15, which is based on the AR-15. Robert had a second rifle in his vehicle. It was a Kel-Tec Sub 2000. This is a carbine that is either chambered in 9mm parabellum or .40 caliber S&W. Robert planned the attack for several weeks. The state's attorney for Lake County said that Robert Crimo admitted to being the killer. In addition, he confessed that he planned to travel to Wisconsin to shoot more people. Now moving to my analysis. As I mentioned, Robert obtained his firearms legally, which raises concern given his history. The police had contact with Robert on 2 occasions in 2019. The first time was in April when he threatened to harm himself. Robert's parents assured the police that the situation was being handled through mental health treatment. The police did not take any action. The second time was in September when he threatened to, quote, kill everyone, unquote. The police confiscated 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword from his home. His father claimed that the knives belonged to him and were being stored in his son's closet. Therefore, the police returned the knives. None of the family members were willing to file a complaint. Therefore, Robert was not placed under arrest. 3 months after Robert's second encounter with the police, his father sponsored him for a firearm owner's identification card, which permitted Robert to purchase firearms. Robert purchased 2 rifles and 3 other guns in 2020 and 2021. The only item on Robert's record was an ordinance violation for possession of tobacco in 2016, the functional equivalent of no criminal record. At the time of the shooting, Robert was unemployed, although he had once worked for Panera Bread. Here are some of the descriptions of Robert, which were offered by various people who knew him. He was a quiet loner who fantasized about mass shootings. He was a video game enthusiast. Robert was negative, not enthusiastic, and lifeless. He was always by himself, no one tried to become his friend. Based on photographs released by the media, Robert possessed an old silver Acura 3.0 CL, which appeared to have red and white tape on the front of the vehicle, as if he was trying to make it look like a World War II era fighter, like with the shark teeth painted on the front. The number 47 is visible on the door of the vehicle, and in the back window he had a sticker which read "blank magnet." The blank was a 5-letter word beginning with the letter P and ending in the letter Y. Robert took a photograph of a sex doll in the passenger seat of his vehicle. He named the doll Sophie. He had at least 4 teddy bears in the back seat and a Donald Trump bobblehead on the rear deck. Robert had a social media presence which involved the posting of a number of videos and images. Some of his posts appear to deal with death, including his own. Robert appears to have been some type of aspiring rapper, referring to himself as Awake the Rapper. Before dropping out of high school, he placed stickers containing the word awake around his school. In one video he posted, he can be seen wearing tactical gear and carrying out an attack using a rifle. He said, "I need to just do it. It is my destiny." In another video, a stick figure resembling Robert is shown lying on the ground in a pool of blood, surrounded by police officers. Here are my thoughts on a few items that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1, it is clear that Robert was fascinated with the idea of committing murder. There was nothing about his posts which could be described as subtle. Item number 2, Robert's parents hired an attorney who has defended them by insisting there were no red flags for them to report to the police. Robert's father has suggested that he is not responsible for his son's attack, and he has no regrets over helping him gain access to firearms. Item number 3, when Robert allegedly made the threat about killing everyone, the police spoke to him. They indicated that he was not forthcoming about his behavior, although Robert did tell them that he was depressed and he used drugs. Item number 4, the police said that Robert had a fascination with the numbers 4 and 7, and of course he carried out the attack on July 4, month 7, day 4. At this point, there's no indication as to why these numbers were significant to him. Here are a few references involving the number 47 that may have influenced him. The AK-47 is a popular rifle. Agent 47 is the protagonist of the Hitman video game series. The number 47 is associated with Pomona College in California. The Revenge of 47 Ronin is a famous Japanese story. And the P-47 Thunderbolt was a World War II-era single-engine fighter bomber. It was not common for this particular model to have shark teeth painted on the nose, but some of them did. The P-40 Warhawk is the aircraft that's best known for having shark teeth painted on the nose. One thing that occurs to me is that Robert was yearning for some way to feel special. He wanted to have something that he could use to identify himself that was novel, so he chose the numbers 4 and 7. Like he had to have something, therefore he just selected those numbers for no specific reason. Now moving to item number 5. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Robert appeared to have some difficulties making friends and fitting in. He was socially awkward and isolated. His repeated rejections in social circles contradicted his own superior sense of self. It didn't make sense to him why he couldn't make friends when he felt as though he was incredible and amazing. People should be looking up to him, but somehow they were not. He tried to rectify this situation by attracting attention in clumsy ways that probably only further destroyed his reputation and friendship prospects. For example, adopting the Awake the Rapper identity and uploading disturbing and poorly crafted videos, placing stickers containing the word awake all over his school, putting an offensive sticker on the back window of his car, and putting tape on the front of his car to make it look like it had shark teeth. Not surprisingly, his efforts did not have the intended effect. Robert was still an outcast. In addition, he was using drugs and feeling depressed. Robert had a number of narcissistic characteristics, like a sense of entitlement, grandiosity, and fantasies of power, but he was not able to impress people. This caused a major conflict for him. There was a massive discrepancy between the person he believed that he was and his true standing in society. Robert decided that he would do something that was guaranteed to bring him attention and that would make society pay for the way they treated him. He was not good at being prosocial, therefore he turned to antisocial behavior, which was an area where he could excel. Now moving to my final thoughts. The Highland Park shooting is yet another example of a case involving warning signs that were ignored. People who go on to commit serious crimes do not always provide a lot of warning, but typically they do provide some. People just have to be able to recognize those signs and act on them appropriately. When a person threatens to kill people, that threat always means something. It doesn't necessarily mean the person is going to follow through with the threat, but it cannot be ignored either way. I think it's important to find out what the meaning is, what led to the threat. There are a number of possibilities, including drug use, depression, anxiety, antisocial tendencies, narcissism, delusions, or a desire for revenge. The lesson here is that the cause must be determined. It shouldn't be assumed that a person making those threats did so for no reason, and everything will just work out fine. Those are my thoughts on the Highland Park, Illinois shooting. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.